Hey. Nice. Fix up the camera a bit and take some notes, and then we are ready to roll. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna wait a couple of minutes anyway to make sure that everyone can join. I might fix the lighting a little bit too. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, we still only have one person, so let's wait 2 more minutes and then we can start, because for the first part I would like everyone to be here, because it's kind of hard to do if I don't explain it properly. But yeah, we're gonna start sitting, so you can sit on something to make you sit a little bit higher, because we're gonna stay here a little bit. If this is not comfortable for you, then you can also put the knees in front, so you can sit on your heels or sit on a block in between. So both of these are fine. Actually, maybe we can even start like this, because we're gonna sit enough in the other way. Anyways, the people who are late can like also turn back the recording a little bit, so that might also work. So yeah, starting whatever seat is comfortable for you to sit in for a couple of minutes. And then arrive here in your seat. You can look in front of yourself with your eyes softly. Or if you want, you can also close your eyes for a moment here. Let your hands rest on your thighs. Feel the weight of your body, your sitting bones pushing into the block below you or into the ground. And then make yourself a little bit more straight by tilting your hips under you, making your core stable but not too tight. And then wander up with your attention to your chest. Feel how your chest expands and sinks with your breath. Bring your attention to your collarbones. Let them open up a little bit by allowing the shoulders to fall to the sides. Bring your attention to your neck. Tilt your head very, very slightly to the front so you can feel your neck, the spine in your neck being a little bit longer. And keep enough space also for your throat to allow the breath to flow freely. Try to align these various points above each other, so the sitting bones, the hips, the spine and the chest, so this area of the spine, and then the neck and finally the head. And then you can make your breath a little bit longer, a little bit deeper. So deeper inhalation, filling your chest, filling your stomach. You can also hold for a second. And then a long exhalation. Emptying the chest, emptying the stomach, sinking into the ground. And then inhale for 1, 2, 3. Hold. Exhale 1, 2, 3. And hold this emptiness. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Hold. Exhale 1, 2, 3. Hold. And then allow your breath to flow naturally. We're gonna start with a breathing exercise. Maybe you already did this with me. It's called Nadi Shodhana, the changing breath. Now you can open your eyes and maybe look at me a little bit. So we're gonna use the right hand. We're gonna close down the index finger and the middle finger towards the palm, and we're gonna use the thumb and the ring finger. And then, so put your hand like this, and then place your hand on your face in a way that the thumb is on the right nostril and the ring finger is on the left nostril. And we're gonna do this changing breath in a way that we're gonna inhale on one side, closing the other side, then holding both of the nostrils, and then exhaling on the other side. And then inhaling on the side that we just exhaled in, hold, and exhale on the first side. So I'm gonna go through you for the first couple of rounds, and then you can go on your own rhythm. So first, exhale completely. It's also a good time to blow your nose if you feel like your nose is a bit stuck. And then you can place your hands on your face. Place your right hand on your face. And then first inhale on both nostrils. And exhale both nostrils completely. And then close the left side. Inhale on the right side. 1, 2, 3. Close. Hold. And open left side. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Hold. Inhale left side. 1, 2, 3. Hold. Exhale right side. 1, 2, 3. Hold. Inhale right side. 1, 2, 3. Hold. Exhale left side. 1, 2, 3. Hold. Inhale left. 1, 2, 3. Hold. Exhale right. 1, 2, 3. Hold. You can go in your own rhythm. Do a few more rounds. The next time you exhale on the left side, you can release both nostrils, put down the hand, and allow the breath to flow freely. Then observe your posture. And you lean back a tiny little bit if you start leaning forward like me. And observe your body. And then if you were in a parallel seat before, then for the next part, come into a cross-legged position. We're going to start moving a little bit. So the first thing we're going to do, and this really works if you sit a little bit higher, but I think you can also do it on the ground. Yeah, you can also do it on the ground. Works even better if you sit a little bit higher. Place your fingertips next to your hips, so you stretch out the fingertips like little spiders. Put them next to you, and then push them into the ground with a little bit of force, just enough to roll back the shoulders and open up the chest. And you don't have to lift yourself up here, just push into the ground. If you want, you can close your eyes for a moment and just observe this energy, this power that you have. Observe the strength in your arm, in your hands. Open up the heart a little bit more. Just breathe into this. Today we're gonna work with our core muscles, with our inner powerhouse, and also a bit with the arms. So just feel how much energy you can already create just by pushing against gravity a tiny little bit. And then release the hands. You can move your wrists a little bit in one direction and the other. And then place your hands on your thigh, and maybe you already feel that your palms are a little bit warmer. And then on your next inhalation, pull up your shoulders. And exhale, roll them back. Inhale, pull up the shoulders. And exhale, roll back. And then on your next inhalation, open up the arms, reach all the way up. And exhale, lean towards your left side. Inhale up. Exhale, right. Inhale up. Exhale, left. Inhale up. And exhale, right. And then inhale up. And exhale on the left side, and then stay there for a moment. And try to be very, very long from the left side, and try to open the shoulder a little bit upwards. So you can even put your right hand on your shoulder and pull it a little bit back, and then stretch out the arm. So you're really like facing even a little bit upwards. And then breathe into this. And one more inhalation here. And exhale, bring down your arms. Inhale, pull up the shoulders. And exhale, roll them back. And then next inhalation, reach up with both arms. And exhale, move towards the right side. Now the left arm is long. And now open up the left shoulder a little bit, and then reach up from there. So you're almost like as if you opened yourself up towards the sky. And try to ground the left sitting bone and create a really long line between the left fingertips and the left sitting bone. And then breathe into this. And then inhale one more time here. And exhale, bring down both of the arms. And inhale, move the shoulders up. And exhale, roll back. And then if you were sitting a little bit higher, you can remove whatever you were sitting on and sit on the ground. Now we're going to try something that I learned this weekend. Let's see if this works. I will try to like teach you a bit better how to engage your like lower core muscles. So it's really not only about the stomach, it's like a lot of stuff that is happening here. So you can put your hands next to yourself on the ground, or also on your legs. And what you will try to do is that try to open the chest upwards. Meanwhile, pull the ribs together in the front, and then tilt the hips under you. So you can touch your tailbone. That's like the thing that like if you place one of your hands on your spine and you start going down, and there's your butt, and between your two like butt cheeks there is like this tiny little thing that is the end of the spine, and that's your tailbone. And what you try to do is that you try to kind of pull your tailbone a little bit in, not too much so you don't make yourself super round with it. I can show you from the side. So instead of sitting like this, like which is like my normal sit when I do something, instead try to make your back rather straight, not like leaning back, but just everything above each other. And then pull the tailbone a tiny little bit in. And when you do this, you can immediately feel that these like low stomach muscles and all this stuff in the front is activated a little bit. And then you can exhale and release a bit. Okay. So we're gonna try the same thing, this time with a bit more force. So I'm gonna stay to the side because I think it's easier to see what is happening. What we're gonna do is that I'm gonna place my hands next to myself and then plant the hands really strong. And here, if you feel like If your hands are a little bit short, like your arms are a bit short compared to your body, then you will feel it that you cannot like push yourself up here. Then you can use a block or something to put your hands on. I will do it without the block though. So your hands are next to your hips or a tiny little bit forward. And then what you will do is that you will make your arms very strong now, like we did in the beginning of the class. Make sure that you're pushing with all of your fingers. And then try to engage this muscle by that pulls your sitting bone under you, and that will make your butt lift up a little bit. And then you can release. And you can play with this a couple of times. So first you make the arms very strong, that already gives you a bit more space, and then just lift up the butt by like pulling in this sitting bone. Nice. And then if you feel like you're super strong today, then what you can do is that you can move the hands a little bit front, and then you can also try to lift up the legs. This is a bit easier if you can go into half lotus, but this is just warm up, so you don't have to do that yet. Of course, if you like to do half lotus or full lotus, you can try it with that as well. But what we're trying to get here is really just this tiny, like this engagement of the lower core muscles. So try this a couple of times. And you can always start with rolling the shoulders back, creating a bit of space in the front, and then pushing down. And then you can release. Nice. And then you can open your legs to the sides, your knees to the sides, and come into Baddha Konasana, the bound angle pose. It doesn't have to be super tight, you can have a bit of space here. And then we're just gonna make a couple of these like cat-cow movements, just here. So the cow is trying to move the chest forward, opening up, and the cat is rounding the back, tilting the hip like upwards. The cat is long, no, the cow is long, and the cat is round. So inhale, cow, and exhale, cat. Maybe I'll move to the side. And then next time you can stop and come to a little bit more even position. And then you can put your legs a tiny little bit closer. And if you can grab your feet like this, or you can also grab your ankles. And then the trick is not to lean forward, but rather to tilt the hips to the front and move your stomach a little bit closer to your feet. We should just wear white because then you would see so much better what I'm doing. So I'm trying to move my stomach closer to the feet. And then you can stay there and breathe into this. And now one more inhalation here. And exhale, move back, close the legs, and we're gonna come into Navasana, the boat pose. So here, what we're trying to do is trying to not to round the back, but rather do this thing of like the back is relatively straight, the core is engaged. So not like pulling up in the air and like, but just as if you try to pull your ribs together a little bit in the front. So you are in boat, you can start leaning a little bit backwards, and then you can lift up the legs when you are ready. And try to keep the legs and the stomach relatively close to each other, the back is straight. And then if you want, you can stretch the arms next to your leg, and we're just gonna stay here for a couple of breaths. If this is still too easy for you, then you can start like stretching out the legs a little bit, going into longer pose. But I think for me it's enough to stay here. And then 2 more breaths here. And 1 more inhalation, and then exhale, release, and round your back to the front. And on your next inhalation, draw yourself up. And we're gonna go one more round. And then here you can do the same thing again. Or if you want this time again, you can experiment with stretching out the legs. And here, for some balance, you can also grab the legs. But try to keep the back straight. So if it's hard for you to keep the back straight and stretch the legs, then just focus on the keeping the back straight stuff. And you can always go a little bit more down for more challenge. So this is really self-practice, just how your body feels today. Do that. And keep breathing. The idea in yoga is that you master a pose if you can basically breathe normally while you are in it. So see what is the pose that fits your boundaries. And then one more inhalation here. And on your next exhalation, release to the ground. Oof. And let's do a tiny mini shavasana, just for a couple of breaths. Release completely. Maybe you can lift up the hips a little bit, rolling the butt away from you, lengthens the spine. And just rest here for a moment. And then on your next inhalation, pull both of your legs up. And exhale, become a tiny little back. And then you can either roll around a little bit or you can also just stay stable. You can also lie down, meanwhile, so you don't have to do it super tight. And just breathe into this space. This Apanasana, the classic yoga farting pose. So, if anything wants to come out, then you can allow it. And then release your left leg back to the ground and stretch out your right leg above you. And then you can push against your arm, becoming very strong, pushing upwards with your heel. And breathe into this. And then pull your leg close to you. And just change the legs, so pull up the left leg. And then you can stretch it out above you and push away from you with the heel. Try to make your knee face towards you, so don't allow it to turn in or turn out. It kind of depends on your anatomy what it tends to do, but try to keep it rather facing you. You can also see it on the foot what is happening. So for me, for example, it tends to roll inwards, and I have to kind of make sure that it doesn't do that. Now more inhalation here, and exhale, pull it back again. And then pull up both of the legs close to you. And then we're going to do a classic kind of fitnessy thing. So put down both of the hands next to you, and that's going to be your for stability. And we're going to do a couple of these crisscrossy things. But we're going to do it very slowly. That's what makes it more yogic. So the lower leg will also not touch the ground, so it's going to hover above the ground, and the top leg is stretched out. And then very slowly kind of change them. It's very hard to speak here. And what you're trying to do here is first to keep breathing. You don't have to hold back the breath. And you want to do many things. You want to keep the legs straight. You do that by pushing away from you with the heel. And you also want to make sure that your back does not curl. So you want to push down the small of your back. You can check that with your hand below you. You want to push this down. And you never want your back to curl. So if you can only do this whole thing up here, that's completely fine. Just don't curl up the back, because that's not really what we're going for here. So just do a couple of these. We're going to do this a couple of times. And then keep both of the legs engaged, the core engaged. And try to relax everything that you can relax. So the upper body is pretty relaxed. Your face can relax. Your eyebrows can relax meanwhile. And keep breathing. And don't allow your knees to fall inside or outside. Keep them parallel to each other. And next time your legs are, one of them is up, then bring the other one up as well. And then push away with both of your heels away from you. So we are basically doing the Dasana, the classic sitting pose, just 90 degrees away. So push away with both of the legs, and if you're doing this right, then probably it requires a lot of like stomach strength to do this. So just breathe into this. And you can already feel your hands getting warmer with all this energy that we are creating. And then the next challenge is to very, very slowly start moving the legs down towards the ground. And try to push your back into the ground, and when you feel that you start arching, then you can just put down the feet. And there release. And rest for a moment. And then one more inhalation here. And then your next exhalation, you can pull up both of the legs close to you. And then move the knees into yourself and come into Apanasana. Again, you can practice this in a static way, or you can do a little bit dynamic, moving around. Just try to release the lower back a little bit with this. And then we're going to do something we usually do at the end of practice, but I think it fits very well after this very strong practice here. Grab the side of your legs, and we're going to come into Happy Baby. So push away from you. And meanwhile, try to bring the tailbone towards the ground. And that will open up the back of the legs. And you can go as wide as you feel like here. It's really not about, you don't have to stretch out the knees here, the knees are bent. It's a little bit more about bringing the knees towards the ground with the strength of the arms. And meanwhile, trying to move the sitting bones towards the ground as well, and that creates a very nice opening in the hips. It's also a classic farting pose, number 2. And just breathe into this. And then one more inhalation here. And exhale, release, stretch out the legs, stretch out the arms above you if you have the space, not like me. Go very long. And then exhale, move to one of your sides. And then your own rhythm, turn around and come into a downward looking dog. Stretch into your dog, the first dog of the day possibly. So you can move around here a little bit, pushing one heel down and the other. And then you can play a little bit with moving around your weight. Make sure that your fingers are spread and they are pushed into the ground. So all of the fingers are pushed into the ground. That takes away some of the weight and the stress from your wrists. And then from these very, very strong rounded hands, push backwards, upwards with your sitting bones and pushing down towards the earth with your armpits and your chest. So rather you're trying to move back. And then you can try to make the legs a little bit more straight, pushing the heels towards the ground. And notice how much strength is there in this position. The weekend I went to a class where the guy said that in the downward looking dog, you can already feel the strength that will become the handstand. So basically all the strength with which you push into the ground in the front, that's the thing that will carry you when you're ready to do a handstand. So that's a fun thought. And then one more inhalation here. And then your exhalation, you can walk forward and your hands come into full forward bend. Inhale, half bend. Exhale, full bend. And then your next inhalation, start rolling up. And come into a stand. And then we're going to do some sun salutations here. So we're going to start with sun salutation A. Inhale, reach all the way up. And exhale, deep forward bend. Inhale, half bend. Exhale, put down your hands, then back into plank. Inhale here. And we're going to stay here for a moment. Sorry, tricked you. And here again, we're going to try to engage with the core. So first we build up this pose from the hands. The hands are pushing into the ground with all the fingers on the ground. The shoulders are moving away from each other. The collarbones are soft, so they're opening up. And then you don't have to stick up your butt or the butt to fall down. Your back is one long line. And you can engage the core by pulling in your sitting bones a little bit under you. And then make the legs strong by trying to push with your, like trying to straighten the legs, and as if you try to push your knees upwards. And then you want to push back with the heels. And just breathe. And then one more inhalation here. And on your exhalation, put down your knee, your chest, and the chin. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, downwards looking down. And then stretching this downwards looking down. Now one more inhalation here. And then exhale, step behind your hands. Deep forward bend. Inhale, half bend. Exhale, deep forward bend. Inhale, roll up. Reach all the way up. And exhale, release. And you're going to keep on going. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, bend forward. Inhale, half bend. Exhale, put down the hands, step back into plank. Make sure that your hands are strong. Inhale here. And exhale, knee, chest, and chin. Inhale, cobra. And then we're going to stay here for a couple of breaths. So you can lift up your hands for a moment and feel how just from the strength of your core, you're lifting yourself up. The legs are also very strong. The back of the feet are on the mat. And you can maybe touch your shoulder if you want. You can open the elbows a little bit to the side. And then create a little bit more space by pulling the shoulders away from the ears. And you're looking down, so don't look up on the screen right now. Not really good for the neck. You're looking down and observe how with your breath this pose evolves. You're very gently rocking up and down with your breath. And this is kind of like the low cobra. Some people do a little bit higher variation, but I prefer this one. And try to make your back long here by pushing away with the tailbone from you. And you can even tuck in the chin a little bit more. And then one more inhalation here. And then your exhalation, put down your hands and move back into your downwards looking dog. And stretching to this downwards looking dog. Open your shoulders. And open the back side of the legs. Pushing into the ground or towards the ground with the heels. And pushing towards the sky with the sitting bones. And then one more inhalation here. And your exhalation, step behind your hands. Pull forward bend. Inhale, half bend. Exhale, full forward bend. Inhale all the way up. And exhale, release. And let's do one more round. This time we're going to try to do chaturanga if you want. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, deep forward fold. Inhale, half bend. Exhale, put down the hands, step back into your plank. Make sure that your hands are strong. And then inhale here. And then your exhalation, start moving your weight forward, 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 bending the arms in chaturanga. And then inhale, pushing yourself up into upwards looking dog. And exhale, downwards looking dog. And then I'm going to keep instructing this variation for the next things, but if you want, you can always do the kind of traditional putting down the knee, chest and chin and so on. And now stretch into your dog. See if you can find a way to engage your stomach here by doing this thing where you pull the ribs together, but in a way that doesn't obstruct your breathing. And you can move your neck a little bit here. Make sure that you're not tensing up the neck. And let's do one more inhalation here. And exhale, step forward. Deep forward bend. Inhale, half bend. Exhale, deep forward bend. Inhale, all the way up. And exhale, release. And then get ready. We're going to do the sun rotation. I'm just going to reel my amazing hair. Looking out. So you're still in the front of your mat. Make sure to have a tiny little bit of space in front of you. And then inhale here. Exhale, release. And then on your next inhalation, come into the chair pose. And we're going to stay here for a moment. So take your time to do this pose really nicely and properly. Knees are parallel with each other. And the knees don't go too much to the front, so you can still see your toes when you look down. Try to go a little bit deeper. And here it's super important that your back is straight and you pull your butt below you. So instead of like tucking your butt out, like here we call it uchi, it's a very important word. So instead of doing that, pull your butt a little bit under. You don't have to like overdo it and come into a like a little packet, but just a little bit of this movement. And you will immediately feel your core activating here. And then when you feel like you got this down, then you can reach up with your arms a little bit more in a V shape, so not completely parallel, a little bit more space here. And then you can go a bit deeper. And then let's do one more inhalation here. And exhale, come to forward bend. Inhale, half bend. Exhale, put down the hands, step back. Inhale here. Exhale, chaturanga or the other thing. Inhale, cobra or upwards looking dog. And exhale, downwards looking dog. And then stretch into this dog for one breath. And then your next inhalation, lift up your right leg, pushing backwards, keeping the hips parallel so the back knee is looking down. And exhale, step between your hands. Ground the feet, the back feet 45 degrees to the side. And come up to warrior one. And we're going to spend a tiny bit of time here just to get the pose right. So here what you try to do is the front knee is bent. It's not going inwards, but rather it's in line with your small toe. So it's really above the ankle. And you try to align the hips. So your left hip tries to go a little bit backwards. So make sure that your hips are parallel with each other. And keep the back leg straight. And you can always make your step a little bit shorter if it doesn't work for you like that. Or if your the heel really doesn't allow it, your back ankle really doesn't allow it, then you can always lift up the ankle here and come into high lunge instead. But try warrior one. So your left hip is forward, right hip moves a little bit to the back, and you can go a little bit deeper. And then again, try to move your tailbone a little bit under you. So doing this thing with the hips, that will open the left side even more. So that can be very hard, at least for me. And then try to engage your core. And then from there you can reach upwards. And maybe go a little bit deeper in the front. And then breathe. Warrior one. You feel the strength of the warrior in your legs, in your core, in your arms. Even in your gaze as you look in front of you. Let's do one more inhalation here. And on your exhalation, bring your arms to the ground. Step back into a plank. Inhale here. Exhale, chaturanga or knee, chest and chin. Inhale, cobra, upwards looking dog. And exhale, downwards looking dog. And stretch into this dog. And then your next inhalation, lift up the left leg. This time it's the left leg that tries to be parallel with the right. So your knees facing downwards. And then inhale here. And exhale, put your feet between your hands. Plant the right foot so it's 45 degrees to the side. And then come up to warrior one, other side. So let's get this right. The right knee is pointing not towards your big toe, so not the inside, but rather a little bit outside towards the small toe. Right hip forward, left hip a little bit back to make sure they are parallel. Pushing back your heel, stretching out the back leg. The back leg is really strong here. And then from there you can go a little bit down. And then you want to tilt your hip a little bit under you, so that will make the upper body a little bit straighter, engaging with the core. And then from here you can reach up. And maybe go a tiny little bit more down and create space at the shoulders. It's really not that complicated. And then just breathe here and feel the strength in your legs. Your legs are really like as if they were pushing away from each other. It will allow you to go a little bit deeper. Let's do one more inhalation here. And exhale, bring down the hands. Step back into a plank. Inhale here. And exhale, knee, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, upwards looking dog. And exhale, downwards looking dog. And stretch into this dog. And then here you have a chance to equalize yourself a little bit. Pushing back with the hands, pushing back with the heels. Stretching out the back. Releasing the neck. And then one more inhalation here. And exhale, step behind your hands. Inhale, half bend. Exhale, full bend. Inhale, back to your chair, but just for a short time this time. And exhale, release. Nice. So hopefully you feel a little bit of the warmth inside you. I hope you do. And we're going to do a little bit of standing balances. So look down on your feet. You can lift up your toes a little bit. And then you can roll them down from the outside to the inside, finishing with the big toe. And see how they clamp into the ground. I don't necessarily want to do that, but you want to keep the feet engaged. And you can always do that by pushing a little bit with the toes inside. And if you have feet like me, so if you have this like flat like feet stuff, then you also might want to lift up the inside arch of your foot, just a tiny little bit. It also happens when you start activating your legs. Yeah, nice. So you have a very stable stance. And that's going to help you because we're going to lift up the left leg. First, you can just allow it to hang there a little bit. And then pull this left leg close to you, just like we did when we were lying down. And pull it really, really close. And give it a little bit of love. It's already been working pretty hard. And then pull your knee to the side and come into a tree pose. So here the feet can be up at the waist, so it's like very close to the crotch. Or it can be more down here somewhere. It doesn't really matter. The important thing is that you don't want to push with your heel into the knee. That's not a really good idea. So wherever your left foot is, make sure that it's pushing into the right thigh. And then you can place your hands on your hips to make sure that your hips are aligned so the left side is not coming up. And then try to make your stance a little bit more straight. And again, you can do a little bit of this like pulling in the tailbone And by that, you will engage with the core and make your whole thing a little bit more stable. And then you can keep the hands on the hips. Or if you want to be a really tall tree, then you can also bring up the arms. But then make sure that your shoulders are away from the ears so you're not pulling up. But you're really nice, like a ballet dancer. Stretching upwards. You can also look a little bit upwards towards the ceiling. It makes the balance a bit harder. And just breathe into this. Imagine that you're a strong tree. Your roots are stable. You're ready for the winter to come. You're ready to shed your leaves, leave everything behind that you don't need. And then one more inhalation here. And then you can release the arms. And then you can bend the standing leg a little bit. And bring the front knee again close to you, or like the left leg close to you. Let's think about this. And then you can stretch out the standing leg again. Be very long here. And we're gonna go into full ballet dancer mode because we're gonna put the hands on the hips. And then just try to stretch out your leg in front of you. So for me, this is super hard. I cannot do this, but maybe you can. Try to do it without like leaning back. So if you feel that you're leaning back, then don't lift your legs so high up. And just stay here. Keep both of the legs very engaged. And just breathe into this feeling, your hips and your legs. One more inhalation here. And then you can exhale, release both of the legs. And do a little walk on your mat. Move around your ankles. Shake them out a little bit. And then we're gonna do the other side. So again, you're gonna find a very stable stance here. Pushing the feet into the ground, lifting up from the feet towards the sky. Opening with the chest. And then we're gonna gently lift up the right leg. And when you feel like everything is nice and stable, you can pull the right leg close to you in the front and pull it really close to your chest. Give it a little bit of appreciation for carrying you the whole day. And then you can move your leg to the side and come into a tree pose. So again, the foot can be pushing into the thigh, or it can be somewhere down here next to the calf, or even closer to the ground. Just don't push towards your knee. That's not very nice for the knee. So you want to push possibly into the thigh or into the calf, and then you want to make sure your hips are level. Then you want to push a little bit the tailbone under you, and that will engage your whole core and make the whole thing very nice and stable. And then you can keep your hands on your hips if that's more stable for you. Or again, if you want to be a tall tree, then you can reach up in a V shape, creating enough space for the shoulders. And you can even look up a tiny little bit and become a tall and proud tree. You can imagine that your fingers are your tiny leaves. And your standing leg is strong. It carries your whole weight. And then one more inhalation here. And then exhale, release the arms wherever they were. Release the leg. And then pull it close to you. If you want, you can bend your knee a little bit. Pull up the right leg. And then release the leg. Place the hands on the hips and try to push the leg forward with your heel facing forward. And again, try not to lean back into it. Rather stay straight up and just try to lift up as much as you can. Again, this is very personal how far it goes. For me, it goes like this. Well, that's how it is. And just breathe into this. It's crazy how hard it is just to lift your leg. You would think that it's one of those basic things that people can do, but apparently it's really hard. And then inhale one more time. And exhale, pull down the legs. And I'm going to walk this out a little bit. Shake out the legs, you can do a little dance with the hips. And then come back to our last stance, and we're just gonna do a nice forward bend to release this. So we're gonna, the feet are hip distance apart. Inhale here. And exhale, roll down to the front, come into deep front forward bend. And then you have multiple variations, so you can do the front forward bend like this, or you can either grab the big toe with your 2 fingers and pull yourself a tiny bit closer, or if you feel very adventurous today, you can bend the knees a tiny little bit, so you can put both of the hands below the foot. You probably need to bend the knees for this unless you're super stretchy. And then you can start stretching out the leg to the back. And then it becomes very hard to speak. So you can do any variation. You can do be in a normal straightforward forward bend. You can grab the toes to pull yourself closer, or you can experiment with standing on your hands. I really like this variation because it kind of massages the palm meanwhile. But maybe this is not accessible for you, then don't worry, you can do whatever else too. And we're gonna stay here for a couple of breaths. So try to ease into it and see how the pose develops as you're staying longer. Let's do one more inhalation here. One more exhalation. You can bend the knees wherever you are, release the hands wherever they were. And then you can just sit back. And then the next thing that we're gonna do on the ground. So you can stretch out both of the legs, come into Dandasana. This is the stick pose, very aptly named. You are very straight with the legs like a stick. And here already, you might tend to bend your back. So you might tend to round your back. That's very normal, but try to act against it. So try to, by tilting forward the hips, try to straighten up the back. And if you find that this is really hard for you, this is a great time to put a blanket under your hips or something, like either blanket or pillow or even a block. But I think here a blanket is usually enough. So you might want to have a blanket. Nice. So make sure that you're very nice and straight here. And then pull up the right leg, have it close to you. And then we're gonna create this little weird like leg baby pose here. So what we're gonna do is turn the leg and then try to place the foot in your elbow. This is not accessible for you, then it's also okay to just grab it like this with your hand. So this is fine. If you can, try to place it in the elbow. And if you can do it with the elbow, maybe it's easier to come to the front. You can do it with the elbow. Then you can try to wrap the other arm around the skull and hug it a little bit closer to you. And then try to straighten the back. So yeah, if this is not accessible, it's always okay to just have it like somewhere down here, or you can even put it on top of your leg. I'm gonna do this variation. And then when you are here, you can breathe through it and stay static, or if you want, you can even move a little bit from side to side, and then you can open the hip a little bit more. And try to keep the back relatively straight. So here it's very hard to keep it completely straight, but try to keep it as straight as you can, especially in the lower back. And keep this foot strong. And then you can release the leg to the side. And you're gonna do kind of a weird like halfway happy baby. So I'm gonna bring up the right foot, like if I was holding like a weapon, and then pull it a little bit backwards. So I try to push backwards with my right knee. So my right knee is right now hidden by my body basically. And try to keep straight. You can also put down this other hand, and that will help you keep straight with the upper body. And here also, if you want, you can move a little bit, but I think this is more like a tighter pose. And just breathe. And then you can release. And then we're gonna try today's full pose. I will show multiple variations because this might not be accessible for everyone based on your body. So I will show more or less the full variation, and then I'm gonna show a modification. I think I'm gonna just turn to the other side because it looks a little bit more clearer. So what I'm trying to do is that I'm starting with what we just did, pulling the leg backwards, and then I try to put the leg on top of the shoulder. I think I already did this once with the pose with you guys, so this might be familiar for you. So you try to put it up here on the shoulder. To make it more accessible, you can also have it like a little bit more to the side, but you want to have it higher than the elbow. That's very important because we're going to put some weight on it. And actually, the higher that you can put towards the shoulder, the easier the pose is. So your leg is up here. You engage with the leg. It's very strong. And then you place down both of the hands a little bit next to your, like a little bit front to your hips. And then you start pushing up. And it's not super visible right now, but my butt is up. And then you can try to lift up the leg in the front. And then you can come out. So this is the full pose variation. What you can do is that if your leg doesn't come up here to the shoulder, then you can also keep it a little bit more down. But then it's a lot harder to do this whole like pulling up. So then you can just try to basically just lift up the butt. And you can do this lifting up the butt by like rolling the tailbone under you and lifting upwards. So you can do this. And then maybe your leg in the front doesn't come up, but this is already hard enough. So now you have some time to experiment. So you start from Dandasana, you pull up the right leg, you make it a little bit more backwards, and then you can try to place it on top of the shoulder or somewhere on the right arm. And then placing down the hands, making sure that the weight is carried by the fingers and not just by the wrist. And then trying to lift up the butt and possibly the leg in the front. It's just like an extra. And try to keep both of the legs engaged meanwhile. And whenever you are ready, you're finished. Trying this, then you can just lean forward a little bit and rest on your legs. Or resting, whatever position feels good for you. Okay, so I think that you had some time to experiment and we still have another side to try. So you can release both of the legs now. And then lean back a little bit and just shake them out from side to side. Releasing off the lower back with this. And then we're gonna try the other side. So this time it's gonna be the right leg that stays on the ground. And the left leg comes up. And then you open the left leg to the side and bring it up. And now you try to place the left foot in your elbow, your right elbow, and move the leg close to you like this. And if this doesn't work, then again you can do it just with the arm like this. Important part is try not to bend your back too much. Stay rather straight. And just move your leg close to you. And then here you can also move a little bit from side to side. Make a small circle, make it more interesting. And then you can release this leg. And we're gonna do the halfway happy baby. So you're gonna pull the left leg a little bit closer to you, grab the left foot from the outside, and then just try to push the left knee backwards. Let's try to push with both legs a little bit, just opening up the left hip, and the right leg is still active, so it's also working. That's the one stabilizing you. And try to keep the back straight. And breathe into this and enjoy how fun it is to work against your own muscles. And then release this leg. And then you can try the full pose. So you can try whatever variation you think might work for you now. Feel free to try multiple. So we pull back the leg. We try to put the leg on top of the shoulder, or if that doesn't work, then on the upper arm. And then place the hands next to you. Keep the leg really engaged. And then just try to lift up the butt here. And then if that is easy or that feels very natural for you, then you can try to lift up the leg in the front. And you can try to keep it straight. I can't really do that. And when you're ready, you can come down. So you can play around a little bit with that. And whenever you are done with that, you can lean back, move out the legs, maybe shake them out a little bit. Take a deep breath here. And then move to the center of your mat. So now I assume that all of you are done with your experimentation. And you're gonna come, for one last time, we're gonna come into our favorite pose, into Navasana. This time you can do an easier variation, so you can keep your legs bent, the back is straight, you can hold out the legs. And then release the arms to the side. And then we're gonna try to go down to the ground as slowly as we can. So you can try to just go one by one. Closer and closer. And then release down to the ground. And exhale here. Yeah, nice. So yeah, we are through the hard part. We're just gonna release the lower back a little bit and then it's all the way to Shavasana. So pull up your legs. Pull the hands. So the heels should be close to you that you can touch them with your fingertips. And then exhale here, releasing your weight into the ground. And then on your next inhalation, just lift up the lowest vertebra, so literally just like your hips. And breathe here for a moment. Observe how this feels, that it's only a little bit your butt is off the ground, but that's it. To me, this always feels like I'm floating in space somehow. And then one more inhalation here, and exhale, relax. And then on your next inhalation, lift up the hips, and now allow the rest of your spine to follow. So as much as you can lift up the hips here. Don't allow the knees to fall to the side, so keep them together. And when you're at the top here, then you can roll your shoulders under yourself and interlace the fingers under you. And from there you can push up a little bit more. And breathe into this. Keep your core engaged. I think I said that sentence like 30 times today. And just breathe into this here, equalizing the spine here, it's super nice. And then inhale here. And exhale, release down. And pull your knees towards you. And hug them a little bit and draw side to side. And we have time for one more pose. So whatever you want to do to release a little bit more, you can do. I'm gonna do a twist, but if you want, you can do happy baby instead, or maybe even a shoulder stand. So if you wanna come with me into a twist, and then you can put your right knee on top of the left one. Keep hope a little bit towards your right side with your hips. And then place down knees on the left side. And try to move the right shoulder towards the ground. And you can also look towards your right side if it feels good for your neck. And you can go as deep here as you want. So if you don't really feel anything here, then you can try to move the knee even closer to you. And if it's too hard already, then you can move the knees a little bit down, or you can release the two legs. What I like to do it is the cross legs version. And then one more inhalation here. Exhale, release a tiny little bit more. And then on your next inhalation, you can come to your center, release the legs, maybe roll around a little bit. And then put the left knee on top of the right one, hop to your left side. And then let the knees fall to the right side. Trying to keep the left shoulder on the ground or close to the ground. And if you want, you can look towards your left side, but you can also keep looking upwards. That's also totally fine. Find a good position here for yourself and just breathe into this. And then one more inhalation here. Release into your exhalation. And then inhale from your center. Release the legs. And then come up to a tiny little back, and now try to be as tight as you can. Very, very tight. You can even pull your eyebrows in, pull your face into like a grimace, like Wah. And then exhale, release everything that you can, and you can come into Shavasana. Yeah. You can breathe normally here and just allow your body to process what has happened. Give you a bit of space here to relax. If you want, you can use props here. You can put on a sweater or cover yourself with a blanket. That's all fine. And just release into your Shavasana and stay very present. Observe how your body is and how it processes what happened. And then you can start bringing your attention back to the breath, taking control over the breath, making a deeper inhalation and a fuller exhalation. And you can start bringing back movement into your fingers, into your toes. You can clench your hands into fists and then you can release them. And then you can stretch in any way that it feels good for your body right now. And then you can roll yourself to one of your sides, whatever feels good, and come into an embryo position. And stay here for a breath. And then you can start pushing yourself up and come back to a comfortable seat. And then you can stay here a little bit more with your eyes closed, the shoulders rolled back, back is straight. And observe how you are right now. So this winter time that is coming is super great time, I think, to stoke this inner fire, to work on your strength, keep yourself warm in every sense of the word. But it's also a great time to practice letting go, since that's what the And so the trees are doing, that's what nature is doing. So we're going to kind of work with these two principles in the next classes, I think. And then you can close your hands in front of your heart. It's a sign of gratitude. And maybe you can gift yourself a smile or just a grateful thought for giving yourself this time today, giving this space to your body. And the thankfulness to life and the universe and everything that we are healthy and we can practice together like this. And I would also like to thank you for coming today. Namaste. Yeah, I hope this was good. I enjoyed it. I'm also very happy to receive feedback or suggestions on what you guys want to practice or do more or do less. Yeah, I wish you a very nice evening and a very nice rest of the week. Tschüss.